Have you guys had it before?
Nope.
No.
But I'm much looking forward to it because I remember you saying you thought I would really like it.
I think you're gonna love this one.
And
I think
it's
you're
Lux
both
Row,
gonna
right?
love this one, and I think that let's just get into it.
But,
all
yeah,
right?
the nose is fantastic.
Let's just get into it. Okay, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Another Bourbon Show. We've been sitting here bullshitting for literally the last 30, maybe 40 minutes about all sorts of shit, and we're finally starting to talk about bourbon. So we're gonna jump into it real
So
quick.
this is probably going to be a really focused, really concise episode. If you're looking to find if you should buy this bourbon or not, why don't you sit back because we got 2 hours worth of Better Call Saul talk coming your way.
And we're gonna be talking about COVID and Better Call Saul, The Wire, whether or not it is wrong to what's it called when you
Spoilers?
yeah, whether or not it's a spoiler 22 years after something airs initially. We're going to talk about all that.
Yeah, that's another thing. We're super topical, and we're going to be hitting on the hot button issues of 2022, like The Wire Season 2.
Exactly.
Season 1 of Mr. Show, and Steven and I were 3 years old, I think.
So tonight, we are going to be drinking this right here. We're going to be drinking some Daviess County. Daviess County is a Lux Row product. Specifically, we are going to be drinking the double barreled version, which is the Ducks Unlimited version. They are the sponsors of the double barrel. Ducks Unlimited, are you guys familiar?
Yeah, that's the Duck Dynasty folks, right?
No, I don't think so.
It's not?
I don't think so. Is it?
I have no clue.
What's the Duck Dynasty company if it's not them?
Duck Dynasty Company.
Yeah, that should come up.
Duck Commander.
Okay, Duck Commander. My
Yeah.
bad. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So this is the Ducks Unlimited Double Barrel Daviess County. Daviess County is a Lux Row product, and there is a red label, a white label, a blue label, this gray label. Basically, they are all different versions of the blue label. Okay, so the blue label is just their straight bourbon, which is the Daviess County 96 proof, undisclosed mash bill because they source it from Heaven Hill. But they are starting to produce their own, or did start producing their own quite a few years ago. But in any case, then the white label is that blue labeled whiskey that's finished in French oak barrels. The red is the blue label finished in Cabernet Sauvignon barrels. The gray is the blue label double barreled in a toasted oak barrel. Okay, so that's the whole Daviess County lineup. Is it all starts off as the blue label, and then the white, red, and gray are how it's finished. 96 proof, but before we do anything else, Steven, what do you think of that label?
You know, I think I like the blue label better.
Do you?
From a color standpoint? I think it looks cooler. I think the blue label I think has kind of a whimsical look to it almost because of the lettering, and it kind of looks like a cross between it's like whimsical and folksy. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a cross between like a bluegrass band album cover and or like an ice cream shop. Like it's very kind of
I can
odd look
see
that
that.
could go either way. But this with the gray label kind of just looks like a country music banner or like album or something to me. And it looks way more on the folksy side because of the colors, I think. That is to say, I don't like it that much. I don't like it as much as I like the blue label. Something about those colors plays much better and I think reads better and everything. This has sort of like a bland, just more kind of soulless, corporate-y look to me. So I'm going to give this a 4 because I think it's a little below average. But again, if it was the blue one, I think I'd probably give that closer to like a 6 or something.
Okay.
I do like the look of that one better. But overall, it's a very, very similar label. It's mainly just the color change, right?
Oh yeah, it's almost identical.
Right.
Like all of the labels, the what the words say are slightly different, but they're the same pattern. It's just changing out the words, and then a different color to identify what it is that you're drinking.
Yeah.
And I will say that I also think both of you would enjoy drinking all of the colors as well. Daviess County is in my opinion, one of the single most underrated lines of bourbon available on the shelf. I put it up against any Buffalo Trace product. I put it up against any Heaven Hill product. I think it's that damn good, especially when you look at the price point. This one is the most expensive of the lineup. It's about $57. Part of that is because they do give money to part of the proceeds go to Ducks Unlimited for their conservation efforts. And it's important to remember that Ducks Unlimited is like, they're a really good organization.
Not Duck Dynasty.
I'm not saying anything about Duck Dynasty. Not saying anything pro or con.
Well, you better not, because
Fuck them.
A&E is on the line right now. They're listening. They tapped this Zoom.
But yeah, so this one's like $57-$60, something like that. The white and the red are in the $45 range, and then the blue is about $40, somewhere about that. All of them are super easy to acquire. Ryan, we didn't ask you. What did you think of the label?
You know, this is the first time I've ever seen the bottle. I like the silver metallic-y. I think, I know it's obviously not the same, but I wish the bottle we had drank from Stumpy's, I wish they kind of went with that more silvery font or something whiter that was easier to read. So yeah. From a shelf standpoint, this one pops out a little bit more than that one.
Okay.
And that cool. Label rating is coming to you from a guy with an American Indian on his snow cap there that he is wearing in June. So I just wanted to give that
background. All right. So now we've talked about the label. We've talked about the fact that there is no mash bill that we know of. It's all 96 proof. What do you say we go ahead and let's drink?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Now, thankfully, my taste and my nose has not been affected by COVID. So that's good news. And as far as I'm concerned.
It smells a little bit, it's kind of a faint nose. But it smells a little bit like the inside of like the wrapper of like a Starburst to me, because you get a lot of fruity notes.
Yeah, I get a little like clove bubblegum type smell to it.
That's what I get, is the clove.
Yeah, and then like maybe like sourdough bread a little bit too.
Yeah, this is supposedly a 4-grain mash bill, so you might be picking up some wheat, in that 4-grain. And although I don't think that my smell or taste has been affected by COVID, I am really stuffy right now, so I'm not smelling things great, but it's not COVID related, it's just sinus related. Which is COVID related, I guess. Whatever. Whatever.
Cheers, guys.
It's not a
Cheers,
Tuma.
And from that toasted barrel, you do get like that caramel, chocolatey richness to it, but you still get the clove and like that wheat.
And I get more cinnamon. I get a lot of cinnamon that I don't get on the nose at all. But the moment it touches my lips, I get cinnamon all over my tongue. And then that makes way for a bunch of different sweet characteristics and some almost over oakiness. Like it's a very oaky bourbon.
I'm a little surprised how heavy it starts with the alcohol burn. It's pretty upfront, pretty quick, but then it dies off pretty fast. Because at first, when I first drank it, I was like, "Wow, this hits really hard for 96 proof." But then it immediately dilutes, and you're just like, "Oh, okay." It pleasantly tapered off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, well, I brought this up before, but I think anywhere from like around like 94 to like 105 is like my preferred drinking proof most of the time. And I just don't understand. I know it's popular, but I guess I don't understand why it's not more preferred by people, because it seems like, or at least it seems like everybody's chasing like 120 proof and higher stuff. But I just feel like anything that just is bottled in bond or like right around there is kind of, and Alan's brought this up on the podcast before too, but it's amazing how much flavor, like Michter's is amazing, and there's so much flavor that you're getting out of this, so much interesting character to it under 100 proof.
So my thoughts are that people don't. Okay, so with the boom and the huge number of people who have started drinking bourbon, there's a whole bunch of people who feel that numbers tell them about the quality and the amount of flavors that they're going to get from a bourbon. And the numbers that they focus on are proof and years. And people are idiots about both. People think, oh, well, I want a 15-year bourbon. You probably don't. Let's just be honest, you probably don't. Most 15-year bourbons are way, way, way over oaked. The ones that are 15 years and you know about are only good because they're the rarity. Most of the time, you'll want a 7 to 9-year-old bourbon. That's the sweet spot for most bourbon. Most proof, if you get up in that 120 range, is going to burn the fuck out of your taste buds. The ones that you're drinking that are at 120 are the rarities. The ones that ethanol burn doesn't happen because they're the oddball. But it gets into people's minds, oh no, I want that 125. No, you want very specific 125s. But in reality, a good 96 proof bourbon is just packed with flavors. It's that those, people
not
everything's wrong things.
Everything's not like a Colonel Taylor high proof that
Exactly.
it just blows your socks off. Usually it's like, even like the Stag Junior is good, but there's so much ethanol and it's hard to drink sometimes, depending on when I drink, but sometimes it's just like, oh man, that's a little too much.
Yeah.
But this is oaky, but I don't think it's overly as oaky. I don't get that as much as you do. I get a lot of sweetness to it, and then
I don't think it's over oaked.
Okay.
But I think it is very oaky, but I don't think it's over oaked.
Okay.
Sorry if I didn't clarify that earlier.
I get almost like a nuttiness at the end too.
You know what this reminds me of most closely?
Nola corn.
Is that seriously what you think?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say
it's the 4-grain, the corn, and corn.
I think the Woodford Reserve Double Oaked.
Yeah.
I get a lot of the same notes on that.
Pretty similar, yeah. Elijah Craig toasted. Right?
Yeah.
To me, it tastes. I am reminded a lot of Elijah Craig toasted as well.
Yeah, I see both of those for sure.
A lot of chocolate, a lot of chocolate, a lot of caramel.
What was the price on this, Dan? What'd you say it was?
I
Or
think,
have you talked about the price or no?
yeah, I did. I think
Okay.
it's sub 60.
It's not bad at all.
No, and it's referred to as a limited edition, but since I first saw it on a shelf, I've consistently seen it on the shelf. So I don't know, limited edition means all sorts of different things. Um, I don't know how long it's going to stick around. I know that when I first saw it, I was like, oh, well, first of all, like I saw it on the shelf, and I was like, well, first of all, I like Daviess County, so I'm going to grab it because it's a new product of theirs. Second of all, it's double barreled. Yeah, I definitely want to give that a try then. And then I tasted it, and I think I messaged you guys the same day I tasted it. It was just, now this has been 9 months, maybe a year ago that I first tasted it. It's been quite a while.
Yeah.
Um, so this is probably my second or third bottle of it since I've gotten it. Yeah, but it's still around. It's still available.
It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super pleasant. I mean, I liked the Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. I like the Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel, although at this point I can remember what it tastes like less.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I like both of those. I like the nose on this. Um, the finish to me, I only like after a few seconds after I've sipped it, I only really taste like leftover oak kind of in my mouth. So I'm not super impressed by the finish, I would say. But like I said before, it's pleasant. It doesn't hang around with that initial burn that you get. It does taper off well. So it maintains the drinkability which you would hope it has at 96 proof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish the finish was a little longer too. It would have been. It's a very good bourbon, but if that finish, if it kept that consistency the whole time, maybe a little less on the first taste of it, they're able to just mellow it out evenly, and then a medium to long finish, that would have been nice.
Yeah. So I mentioned it earlier, but I caught COVID, and holy shit, that came up on me fast.
It's
Like
not
I
all it's not as good as everybody's making it out to be, huh?
No, it's not. Like I give it 1 star. Like I don't know why people
Wow.
keep talking about it. Um
It's the Jesse James outlaw whiskey of illnesses, sounds like.
yes, it is. It's no fun. And so I was supposed to go to a meeting on Wednesday morning of last week. But Tuesday, I found out that I couldn't go physically to the meeting because I couldn't get a rental car. The rental car places were completely sold out, and I refused to drive my own vehicle, even for just a 1 hour trip to go to the meeting and come back. Um, so Wednesday morning, I wake up and take Augie to school, and I'm feeling fine. Come back. Meeting that I was supposed to be in person at started at 9. So instead, I just called in, and from 9 until 10, I was on that call. And during that call, I started to get some stomach cramps, but that was about it. That call ended at 10, and I immediately rolled into a different call at 10. That call ended at 10:15. It was a very fast one, thank God. Because I get off the call at 10:15 and I'm like, man, I'm tired. So I go upstairs with some stomach cramps. I use the bathroom, come out of the bathroom, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to like lay down and take a nap. Now, working from home, that's a possibility. And before I even got downstairs to go lay down to like take a nap, I was like, God, I feel like cold. Let me go back upstairs and take my temperature. And I had 101-degree temperature. And like 5 minutes later, I'm like basically passed out on the couch, shivering while I'm fully clothed with 5 blankets on top of me. And I'm like texting my wife that, oh my God, I've got like 102.7-degree temperature now. And then like for the next 48 hours, I was not awake longer than 2 hours straight but I also never slept more than 3 hours straight. And then, yeah, I'm about back to 95%. Feeling fine now.
You know, you never got COVID whenever you were smoking.
You're right.
I'm I'm just guy who
You
calls
make
them
a
like I see
really
them.
great point. You make a really great point.
You know what, Dan? I'm gonna book a trip somewhere out of the country just to go to the duty free. I'm gonna buy you some cartons of American Spears for $30 each, or however much it costs, and I'll ship them right to you, dude.
I appreciate it. Thanks for
You're
looking
gonna
out
get
for my health.
You're gonna get over this in no time.
I appreciate you looking out for my health. Remember the yellows, American Spirit yellows.
Yep.
You at least need to get him some of those good old medicinal clove cigarettes you enjoy so much.
All right, sure, Steven. Just for you, why don't we go ahead and rate this bottle?
Mercifully end this fucking episode.
Who wants to start?
You say mercifully?
Yeah. I'll start us off. I'm gonna come in hot. I'm gonna give you an 8.1.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I think it cracks the 8s for me. I think I've had a lot of stuff falling in this range recently, but it's another one I think deserves to be an 8. It's not going to be a high for me just because of the sort of lack of finish, I think, which again, I think is better than having too harsh of a finish or anything like that, but it's just something to note. It's just something to note that it's not, it's a 96 proof. I'll just leave it at that. I think that it's right there. It's a good sipper. I think more people should check it out. I think it's in a competitive price range, and there's a lot of good stuff right around here. It just deserves to be in the conversation, and that's how I'll leave it. I just really liked it a lot. I think everything was really good, but nothing was that great about the experience, and that's totally fine, I think.
Let me ask you this though: if it had a better finish, where do you put it?
If it had a better finish, I think it would probably be pushing more for like 8.4, 8.5. It'd probably be up there with like mid 8s and be pushing to be one of more of my regular drinkers, I would say. That's kind of how I felt about Legion. You know what I mean? I would put it basically in that category. I think this is just falling under Legion for me, I guess, as like one of my regular drinkers that I liked a lot. So,
okay.
And also Legion is typically, I'm able to find it for less than what it sounds like this bottle is typically at. So that would be another thing that played into it. Legion's just such a solid hitter. I feel like that checks all the boxes for me. And this just checks a few less. It's as simple as that.
But it's still an 8.1, you said.
It's still an 8.1. I mean,
yeah.
If this was episode 14, I'd probably be going crazy for this bottle. You know what I mean? I'm jaded now. What can I say?
I'll go next. I'll go a little higher than Steven. I was going to go an 8.3. I do agree with the finish, but that price range, I was doing some research too. I saw it on some sites for like $50-$55. So there's a lot of stuff in that price range, but a lot of times you won't be able to find it at a lot of stores. So if this is on the shelf and available, I would get it. I mean, there's the cinnamon that you mentioned, Dan, a little brown sugar, clove, sourdough. I do wish that finish and the whole kind of mouthfeel was a little more even throughout, because it's very heavy at first, then kind of fizzles away, and then you get that oaky, and I got that nutty sensation towards the end. But that was my poly walnuts left. Sorry. I think it's a really good bottle though. If that finish was stronger and the toasted barrel helped a lot, I wish I would have gotten more of those decadent notes out of it. You know, the chocolate, a little more caramel, maybe some vanilla. I would have given it probably an 8.6, 8.7, but it's still a solid bottle, 8.3.
Okay. So I've been going back and forth between like two different scores, and I'm just going to go with the one just because it makes it slightly neater. I'm going to go with an 8.2. I was going to go with an 8.1 or an 8.2, and if I go with an 8.2, we can have an 8.1, an 8.2, and an 8.3. So
that's how you know we have integrity.
Yeah, right. But seriously, yeah, I mean it's in that 8.1, 8.0, 8.4 range. It's in that low 8s range. And yeah, I think that the one thing that, like, I think that the finish is really good. But that's what's keeping it from being an 8.5 or a 9.0. Everything about it is an 8 plus. It's that the only thing hindering it from being just an astronomical score is a finish. But I would still put this against literally any Buffalo Trace product. I would still put this against any Elijah Craig product, right? Like it stacks up against bottles that are impossible to find. It stacks up against bottles that are the most desired, sought after bottles that you can think of. This stacks up against them very easily, very well, and in many cases beats them, in my opinion. So stop fucking just berating people trying to get Blantons. Stop berating people trying to get whatever. Go for what's readily available and is still goddamn delicious, like Daviess County. So,
or old Ezra 7.
Or old Ezra 7 right over there. Or so many other products that are readily available and just so goddamn good. They just don't get nearly as much attention, and that's a shame. So 8.2 for me. Solid pour all around. Finish is what's keeping it from being a 9.0.
Another bourbon show. Another bourbon show. Another bourbon show.
I didn't know who the fuck Bob Odenkirk was until Breaking Bad. And even though I used to love watching Mr. Show with Bob and David, I never fucking connected
That's him.
Bob Odenkirk of Better Call Saul to that Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
Like we joke about, the three of us joke about this, but that's a legit thing that I just don't even look for connections like, oh, I recognize him from X, Y, and Z. 90% of the time I'm just like, oh, this is a new person I've never met before.
Yeah. You do that with me sometimes if it's been a while. So I get it.
That's actually true. So,
Like I'll come up to you and I'll be like, "Hey, how's it going, Dan?" You're like, "Okay." And I'll be like, "Remember? I was the best man at your wedding?" And you're like, "Okay." Can I help you?